Hi, everybody. 1,876 days today since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room and his life was taken from him. So, let me make sure everything is working. And, there's always breaking news. Always breaking news. Yep, looks good. Make sure you can hear me. I'm not, a team here. It's just me. It's just me here. This is um, late night, almost midnight. We're burning the midnight oil. Um, but it just couldn't be helped because of all the information coming in. What I posted is just the tip of the iceberg. You think, oh, it's Saturday. A Saturday will be pretty easygoing. But no, we haven't had that. There's no time to sleep. This is really such a big case. We have 2 dozen agencies involved in this case. Name me one case that has like 2 dozen agencies involved. I don't think you're going to find it. This is much bigger than the Iran-Contra scandal. It involves that, but this involves national security at so many different levels. It's just huge. And I didn't want it to be huge. I just wanted to find my son, right? I wanted to find my son. And I think it's very important for people to understand that um, this was this was an assassination. It was an assassination, and that really explains all of the response, lack of response, the hostile response, the cover-up response that we received at the very, very beginning of this. It just explains it all that this was bad actors in our government that were um, really and I don't want to be on one party or the next party because this involves both political parties, but there is a leaning to the Democrat Party and hostility. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's so much talk about um, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I need to clarify what's going on in our son's case because, like Danae Katzen was Beto O'Rourke, right? Beto O'Rourke, General Clem Coward's wife, was working for Beto O'Rourke, um, and Texas Heart, right? Leading Black Lives Matter, absolutely for Beto O'Rourke. Um, and so this of course so many others in this, they were, El Paso is Democrat, so I don't want to pick on the Democrat. It's a Democrat city, so this is to be expected, and we expected it, and we didn't harp on it, but there is this trend going on right now, um, and I've been saying it even when it wasn't popular to say it. I was saying that there's common denominators here, and the common denominators are that this is a sex cult behind this, that there is, uh, a Mormon faction behind this. We know now, it's been confirmed that it is cartels behind this. And, El Paso it just went all wrong. It just went all wrong. They were making too much money. They were making too much money all the criminal trafficking. And if you didn't compromise yourself, I think it was very hard to get a job, because look at Sylvia Brun de Firth. She's so compromised. She has a big job. Look at anybody in this, Bill Hicks, um, Montoya, Bono Montoya, and I'm not making excuses for them at all. They're criminals. They're total criminals. These judges, but we're talking about big players. We're talking about generals. And it's a real criminal culture that had to have a leader, and that leader is Woody Hunt and Soros. I always thought that Soros was over exaggerated, but he's not. The Open Border Society, Soros absolutely had a hand in El Paso, big time, with Woody Hunt, and absolutely with Greg Abbott. And I need to post up some things that we received today about that. And that's big fish stuff, and hopefully I can post that up tomorrow. There's just so much information coming in, and you have to go back and look at the beginning of Richard's case and realize um, that everything makes sense now. Why CID told us that we would have to investigate our own son's um, case, because they couldn't help us unless we brought them leads, and so the sex cult stuff, the us bringing them leads and us having to investigate ourselves, was a directive, and it's a something we said at the very beginning with the sex cult stuff, and I can post some of that with the doggy masks, and we have, oh my gosh, loads of evidence on that that is just terrible. But uh, but you have to be mature when you look at it, okay? You have to be mature when you look at all of this evidence that we have. Not that I'm going to post all of it up there, but what do I mean by that? I mean, you have to wonder, why would billionaires, why would leaders want to compromise the people, right? Their own people working for them. Why would they want to groom a sex cult? Okay, because that was groomed. There's just no other way. We're all. God tells us in the Bible, raise a child the way they should go, bring up a child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they will not depart from it. So, what is he telling us? He's telling us what we do with our children, how we raise them up, how we form them is 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 absolutely very influential, and when they mature, when they get to be adults. And so when you see adults being so selfish and so centered on a sex cult, right? And you can put whatever you want in that sex cult. Um, um, but I'm talking about illegal sexual activity. Okay, that's what I'm talking about in that sex cult. And this is from the very beginning, there was so much illegal sexual activity. Okay, really bad stuff. And their minds, the way their minds think, the way we were being harassed, it was very vile, it was very vulgar, it was absolutely evidence of this very sexual place that they were coming from, with no dignity, no reverence, no loyalty to a family, or a partnership, even to a partnership, the way they would even be talking about each other and everything. It was very evident, and then it was very evident that this is has a Mormon faction common denominator, and of course a veteran military, VA disability benefits common denominator, which tells you, that they're taking advantage of the system. Um, so that was, and of course, very criminal. So we, from the very beginning, when we were in Florida, um, we saw, because we got kicked out. Um, what do I mean by that? When we called, because no one ever called us, right? We called them. When we called them, uh, they said, "Oh well, too bad. Your son's off the rolls, right? So we can't help you." They put us in a jurisdictional limbo land. Nobody would help us because Richard, of course, lost his life on Fort Bliss, and Fort Bliss had just kicked us out, took Richard off the rolls, and so therefore put us in a jurisdictional limbo land. And because of that, um, there was no place that we could go. We couldn't get any help anywhere. So we came together as a family and decided to use social media. That social media would be the only place we could go to get our story out, and that maybe, with a popular demand, sharing, like we ask you to do, please share, please join, please subscribe, all of that stuff. Please, because that really, really helps. What it does is um, it drives justice. It drives those in those positions, whether they want to or not, to do the right thing. And so we use social media. We got a lot of traction on social media, and they brought us back on the rolls. The CID called us and brought us back on the rolls, put Richard back on the rolls, put us back in jurisdiction, and therefore we could then um, uh, start using social media to push them to do the right thing, okay? To drive them to do the right thing, as Sean Bernabe says, even though Sean Bernabe is one that needs to be driven to do the right thing. And now he is so aiding and abetting terroristic organization that he needs to be arrested, right? He served foreign and domestic enemies. He lied to it. I mean, he has committed so many crimes, y'all. He needs to be absolutely arrested and stripped of every benefit. He is a traitor. Okay. He is a traitor that is so big. He cannot be allowed to wear our uniform or stars or get any benefit at all, because he absolutely violated everything that we gave him in good intention. Because we're so good to our generals, we're so good to our military, and we want to give them everything. And he violated that. He violated that in the worst way. So, and so this is really important. This really goes to what I'm about to tell you. When you have those that are in the military, like who have been in the military, like Amber Chase and Mortuary Affairs, and then comes out being targeting you and threatening and harassing and the most vile, vulgar comments. We have them. You have to look at all of that maturely. Who are these people? What is really going on? Instead of being offended, instead of being hurt, instead of being scared, instead of being intimidated, You have to look at who's saying this stuff to you, who is coming in, where are they coming from, what are they trying to do, because they're using asymmetric warfare tactics. This is a tactic what they're doing, and you can say a lot of bad things about Amber Chase, um, but she is definitely employed to carry out, um, I guess, a cover up. I guess a cover up. So anyway, she was mortuary affairs. Um, I think for about 10 years in the military, deployed and everything. Uh, and it is, then she worked for El Paso ISD. Now that's scary. That's very scary. Someone that is so sick, someone that is so violent with their words, so vile and vulgar, is employed by El Paso Independent School District. That's very scary. That's very scary. But we know that El Paso ISD also employed Manny Chavira without a peace officer's license. We also know that El Paso ISD has schools on the border that has tunnels underneath them. There's, people go, oh, but we don't see any trafficking. We've never seen anything. We didn't notice anything. Exactly. That's why they picked those schools, because schools are just so easy to undercover traffic. Things that you think are just totally normal, are the trafficking, because vehicles come and go, trucks, children come and go. And, there's just so much evidence that you just think is a regular day-to-day activity. That's why they pick the schools like that. That's why they pick churches. That's why they pick these public places to do this. So, and to have El Paso ISD uh, team up and target Richard with Manny Chavira, and then target our family again, Manny Chavira's group, but also um, Amber Chase, which I don't really like saying her name, but it's just the fact, it's just the truth. To target us, people don't even realize how much she targeted us. It was just brutal. It was just brutal. I don't know. She must have lost a lot of sleep doing it, right? Um, and she's just very vile and vulgar. And there's others in the group, but in this Sid Cat, Sid is it's a lot of veterans use this. It's like for CID, and there's other things that we know about Sid Cat. Um, but we want to focus on Michael Gonzales, right? Because Sid Cat came on to attack us, intimidate us, threaten us, everything. And really because of Dallas Hart, okay? They were protecting Dallas Hart. Anything about Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader, that got out there, they were just all upset. So, of course, Dallas Hart is the prime suspect in the murder of our son. So, they were really protecting him, and so that was the trigger for them to attack us. And it's just, we know who these people are. Um, Lindsay Rowland, Amber Chase, Sid Cat, and then Michael Gonzales. And that's who we want to talk about tonight, because Michael Gonzales was with the Sheriff's Department for until 2018, for many, many years. And then he went and worked for the El Paso ISD. He sold insurance. He's done all kinds of things, um, with the union, I think, with the union. And you know, so he is in law enforcement. This is the thing. He's in law enforcement, and he's in law enforcement not only in the sheriff's department, which is one of those 2 dozen agencies that are involved in our son's case, but he's also El Paso ISD, with the likes of Amber Chase, with the likes of Manny Chavira. And so he's law enforcement, and he came on very early in there in support of people that were harassing us, that were threatening us, that put us through hell, really put us through hell. Now, why would someone that wants to be sheriff, why would someone that is in law enforcement want to, 4-person team to team up with a group that has hate for Richard, and absolutely they hate Richard. They have a hate for Richard, and they have a hate for me, they have a hate for our family, and I have absolute mountains of proof of that they hate, and that they're part of this sex cult. They're absolutely part of the sex cult. There's mountains of evidence, not because I say it is, it's because mountains of evidence absolutely confirm that this group is part of a sex cult, is part of a Mormon faction, and is part of a group that is full of hate. They project, they want to say, oh, so and so is full of hate. No, they are full of hate, absolutely full of hate. And not because I say so, because the evidence, and I posted just one little teeny bitty little example of that. But they are absolutely full of hate. So this sex cult Mormon cartel tied faction is full of hate and is violent. And so that means they have a propensity to do violence to Richard, because we have evidence they have the propensity to do violence to us. And so they are absolutely violent people. And all of a sudden you have Michael Gonzales right there with them, right there with them. Now, his ties, because he has this huge law enforcement ties and all the different groups that he's in, he has absolute connections with the El Paso PD. Now, the El Paso PD is very important because Nadal Baim of Western Frontier Trading, LLC, was an arms dealer selling these law enforcement agencies in El Paso millions of dollars of ammunition. That's what he was doing. He was, trying to get the contracts from the different agencies to buy his ammunition. Now, I don't know where that ammunition was coming, because I don't trust him at all, because he is the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, which is operations. And so you cannot trust this family at all. And with all the reporting of all of the criminal trafficking, and then here he is trying to sell, just, a lot of red flags go up, a lot of spidey senses, you get the, goosebumps. Yeah, they're up to no good. They are absolutely up to no good. But my point is that if you are part of the law enforcement culture and community there in El Paso, you absolutely know each other, and you absolutely know Nadal Baim. And here, um, Michael Gonzales is silent, and with a group that hates us, that targets us, that threatens us, that wants to intimidate us, wants us to shut our mouths, to shut our mouths. And knowing that we did not decide to investigate, we were ordered to investigate by the CID and the command of our son. Otherwise, they could not help us. We had to investigate ourselves, they told us, and bring them leads. Otherwise, they could not help us. So us starting to investigate was because we were told to investigate. And so the vile and vulgar response that we got from us investigating and finding out, Nadal Bayim getting all the screenshots, all the CCTV footage, the video, the video testimony of the cashier, and then ongoing with all of the documented screenshots upon screenshots and videos and all of our conversations while we were there and everything. Lots of audio we have. And we collected and collected and collected, and they were getting mad at us. They were getting mad because we got answers for our questions that we had that were leading us closer and closer to who were the prime suspects in in the taking of the life of our son, and then also um, getting mad that we were uncovering more crime in El Paso, more crime, a broken system. Um, and you have Michael Gonzales not chiming in, not letting us know who he is. I mean, for all this time, we didn't know who he was. And now, because of the ties to El Paso ISD with Richard's case with the trafficking of Richard's car, also Poison Ponds, Julio Cordero, and getting the shooter of Julio Cordero, which is Anthony Tony Ray Acuna. Um, with that information coming out, and all the tunnel um, confirmations that we received um, about the El Paso ISD police operating not in a too good of way, not in a good way at all. So to go back and look at our screenshots and to check who is this Michael Gonzales, and for him to be a former officer or sheriff deputy in the sheriff's department with this Border Star organization that he was lead over, and then to see his place in the El Paso ISD, right? In the El Paso ISD, it's just with Amber Chase on top of that, and then with Amber Chase in these posts together, right? That really speaks volumes too. So, yeah, that is, we know who these people are. We have filed it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But we know that everything that's being discovered in Charlie Kirk's case is been discovered in our son's case. Um, and it's very, very interesting to see how it's developing, because solving Charlie Kirk's case will solve Richard's case. I'm telling you, because it's the same people behind it. It's this very. Oh, and I have some breaking news. The news is that Lance Twiggs, he wasn't loyal to um Tyler Robinson. Okay, he had some other flings going on. Um, that is that is what is being reported. So please fact check me there. But that is exactly what's being reported. Is he had some other interests also besides Tyler Robinson. And so that is really, and no one's buying the whole story, the text messages. It's being reported over and over again. The text messages seem to come from AI, that they were developed from AI, that this is not human made text messaging. We see that, and many other reports. So, um, yeah, that's the whole narrative has not taken hold at all, like they want it to. They need to tell the truth. They need to tell the truth, and we can smell the truth now, right? We definitely can smell the truth or a lie now. So this is really a a bad decision to make with a family, right? A very bad decision. So, it's really, let's see if there's any questions and comments because this is such huge news. Okay, yeah, post them all up. Yeah, same in Mexico and all over the world. They have been doing it. La Luz Church, even famous people were in on it. Same like the, I don't know what that is, in Sergio, and back in the 90s. Yeah. Well, they messed up my car and I can't find a job, and they'll also uh, try to crash you, and for sure bombs under cars. No wonder AI has an electrical problem. Yeah, they are ruthless. They are absolutely ruthless. All my community won't hire me. They are all getting paid and coerced. Yeah, that's a big problem. That's what I mean, That's what I mean. The this has all been groomed, if you don't go along to get along, then you're not going to get along. You're not going to get the job. And this is how they get you and entrap you. And they were trying to entrap all the soldiers, you see. And Richard didn't fall for it. He refused to be compromised if that meant being kicked out of the army. And I told him, it's not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world at all. And I know, um, uh, but he stood his ground. He stood his ground and did the right thing, which many did during the lockdown, and now those cases are being adjudicated. I can't wait for Monday to meet with my landlord. It will be very interesting. It's been 2 months that I have not gotten my mail. Wow. Um, so yeah, it is all coming together, and for Nadal Baim to be known in these circles, absolutely, he was known in these circles. The same thing with Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart, and for Michael Gonzales to not have Richard's back, to not tell us what was going on. Um, it really is what a betrayal. It really is a betrayal. So, that is really the important message we want to give you today. Please subscribe. Please comment. So much is coming out of the Charlie Kirk case. Stay very vigilant with that because the narratives have been very dirty, right? They've been very dirty, and we want transparency. Um, and can you imagine if Michael Gonzales would have gotten sheriff? He is absolutely disqualified from that, from what he did. in our son's case, and more information. We're not even finished because more information is coming in with his other activities. So um, it really is, it's a shame. It's a shame that we have law enforcement officers with so much years in service, and they're up to no good, clearly. So thank you so much. Thank you for the big hug, and we love you too. And we want you to share, share, share. That's very important. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing.